Pretty close, no?
Oh, yeah, they hit us a lot.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, the regular council meeting for Tuesday, December 17th, 2024 will come to order. We would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Indigenous peoples of the Treaty 7 territory and the Otipemisiwak Métis Government, District 4. We respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our community. We will start with 2.1. Are there any additions to the agenda? There's no further additions, so please get a motion.
Through the chair, is there not a subtraction to the agenda 6.2?
Yeah, so could I get a motion with subtract taking off 6.2?
Sure.
Counselor Knight,
I'll motion that the agenda be accepted with the removal of 6.2.
all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, item 3.1. Minutes from our previous meeting. Any errors or omissions? There's no errors or omissions. Could I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Counselor Bang,
I'll move that the minutes from December 3rd, 2024 meeting be accepted as presented.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Carried. Item 5.1. Sorry, 4.1. Council remuneration policy. Lindsay,
Good evening, Council. As part of administration's policy review process, the council remuneration policy is being brought forward with proposed updates to council's monthly honorariums and travel expenses. These changes ensure fair compensation for council to reflect the changing responsibilities and economic conditions. Increased monthly remuneration. The base monthly remuneration increase aligns with regional and industry standards and takes into account inflation rates. Travel expenses. The travel expense increase for dinner and mileage reflect the industry standards and take into account inflation rates. The updated remuneration and travel rates have been included in the 2025 provisional operating budget, and administration is recommending that council accept the council remuneration policy as accepted.
are there any questions for Lindsay?
Through the chair.
Counselor Knight,
It's not a question. It's thanks, Lindsay, for putting this together. I do know that this council now, prior to our first terms, we are more active. There are more meetings. I do know that for a fact. I also want to comment that if you look around other communities that are our size, this is still on the low side of that. So I do think that it's a good rate for the town without overspending either. So just two comments.
okay. Any further questions for Lindsay or comment?
Through the chair,
Mayor
I just want
Harris?
to thank administration for doing your homework and doing the comparables for the council remuneration, and coming up with the amounts that are presented here today, which I think is a fair amount for the size of our town, and we're still lower than comparable communities. So thank you.
Any further questions or comments? There's any further questions or comments, please get a motion on 4.1.
Through the chair.
Councilor Brennan,
Sorry, 1 second. I move the council remuneration policy 2024-05 be accepted as presented.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Yes.
Okay, item 5.1, boring bylaw, Amber.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fox. I have the line of credit borrowing bylaw 2024-07 before you for second and third reading. This is the bylaw that supports the annual renewal of the town's $1.5 million operating line of credit. The purpose of the line of credit is to ensure that sufficient funds are available to fund operations. The town has not needed to draw upon the line of credit in the past. This line of credit allows the town to borrow up to the principal sum of $1,500,000 from ATB, repayable upon demand and at an interest rate of prime plus 1%. The line of credit will be in effect from January 1st to December 31st, 2025. Notice of this borrowing has been advertised on the town's website since December 4th. And administration is recommending that council give second and third reading to bylaw 2024-07. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Amber? Okay, if there's no further questions, could I get a motion for the second reading? Councilor Brennan,
I move that line of credit borrowing bylaw 2024-07 be given second reading.
all in favor?
Yes.
Okay, could I get a motion for the third and final reading?
Through the chair,
Councilor Lomberg,
I'll make the motion that the line of credit borrowing bylaw 2024-07 be given third and final reading.
all in favor?
Yeah,
Yes.
Carried. Okay, item 5.3.
two.
Amber, again.
Three. Two.
Sorry, go back to 5.2. I guess it's Tammy, the pumper borrowing, Amber again.
Thank you
Sorry,
very
Amber.
much. So I have the custom fire pumper borrowing bylaw before you for second and third reading. This bylaw is to enable debt financing for the purchase of a 2016 custom fire TME pumper. Administration has identified 2026 custom TME pumper that fits the town's needs. The custom pumper borrowing bylaw will enable the town to borrow up to a maximum of $722,462 for a 5-year term at an interest rate not to exceed 6%. The funds will be borrowed as part of the Government of Alberta's loans to local authorities. The available interest rate for a 5-year term as of today is 4.34%. Administration has engaged with investment and financial institutions to ensure minimization of costs and risk exposure to the town when undertaking this borrowing process. Notice of this borrowing has been advertised on the town's website since December 4th. Administration is seeking second and third reading of bylaw 2024-09. Administration will commence the loan application process once the bylaw has passed third reading. And that concludes my report.
Are there any questions or comments for Amber? Okay, if there's no questions or comments, could we get the second reading?
Through the chair.
Councilor Brennan,
I move that the custom fire TME pumper borrowing bylaw 2024-09 be given second reading.
all in favor? Any opposed? All right, could we get the third and final reading? Motion for the third and final reading.
To the chair.
Councilor Knight,
I'll motion that the custom fire TME pumper borrowing bylaw be given third and final reading.
all in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Amber. Item 5.3, back to Lindsay again. Election bylaws.
Evening again, council. The purpose of this report is to recommend the adoption of the updated election bylaw in preparation for the 2025 municipal election. The current election bylaw was adopted prior to the 2021 municipal election and aligned with the Local Authorities Election Act in effect at that time. As council may be aware, the Municipal Affairs Statute Amendment Act, Bill 20, introduced changes to the Local Authorities Election Act that impacts the municipal election processes. The amendments include requiring municipalities to implement a permanent electors register, mandating the provision of special ballots for all future municipal elections, allowing municipalities to require candidates to submit criminal record checks with their nomination papers, and removing the ability of scrutineers to challenge electors' eligibility to vote. The proposed election bylaw incorporates provisions to address the changes introduced by Bill 20, specifically establishment of a permanent electors register, procedures for special ballots, and requirements for candidates to provide criminal record checks. In addition, administration is proposing further amendments based on best practices observed in other municipalities and has included relevant wording from the Local Authorities Elections Act to improve clarity and ease of reference. The bylaw also formalizes the returning officer's full authority and discretionary powers under the Local Authorities Elections Act. The proposed amendments will streamline the election process by delegating administrative details to the returning officer, ensure elections are conducted impartially and free from perceived council influence, particularly as sitting councillors may run as candidates, and reflect current legislative requirements and best practices. The proposed election bylaw has been reviewed by legal and has been confirmed to align with the Local Authorities Election Act. Administration has already begun preparations for the 2025 municipal election and recommends council adopt the election bylaw 2024-10 to ensure compliance with legislative changes and allow the returning officer to exercise their responsibilities effectively.
Are there any questions or comments for Lindsay?
Through the chair,
Mayor Harris?
just a comment. Thank you, Lindsay, for aligning that with Bill 20. It's nice that we can move forward with the next year's election and be aligned with it.
Any further comments or questions for Lindsay? Okay, if there's no further comments or questions, can I get a motion for the first reading?
Through the chair,
Tonight,
I move that the elections bylaw 2024-10 be given first reading.
all in favor?
Aye.
Yes,
Carried. Okay, can I get a motion for the second reading?
Chair.
Counselor Brennan,
I move that the elections bylaw 2024-010 be given second reading.
all in favor?
Aye.
yes,
Okay, could I get a motion for the third and final reading?
Through the chair,
With unanimous consent. Counselor Lambert,
I move that bylaw 2024-10 elections bylaw be brought forward for third and final reading with unanimous consent.
all in favor?
Aye.
yes,
Carried. Could I get a motion for the third and final reading?
Through the chair,
Counselor Gustafson,
I move that the election bylaw 2024-10 be given third and final reading.
all in favor?
Aye.
yes.
Carried. Thank you, Lindsay. Okay. Item 6.1 is an Alberta Elks Association Community Incentive Project Letter of Support request. Is there any discussion on the letter that we received?
All it is sorry, through the chair. All this is a letter of support, right? There's nothing.
They're just looking for us to do a letter of support from council from Crossfield.
Okay.
Okay, if no one has any questions or comments, could I get a motion to go ahead and send a letter of support?
Through the chair,
Mayor Harris?
I'll make the motion to send a letter of support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried
Yes.
with three. Any opposed? Carried. Okay, item 6.2 was removed off the agenda, so we'll go to 7.1, financial updates. Amber?
Thank you again. So the financial update provides an opportunity to review financial variances up to October 31st, along with an operational forecast and expected revenues and expenses. Along with an operational forecast that will have expected revenue and expense results up to December 31st of this year. I'll start by looking at the operating variance report. This report outlines the operating revenue collected and expenses incurred up to the end of October 2024, in contrast with the 2024 operating budget. A benchmark for expenses at October 31st is approximately 83% of budget, leaving 17% of the budget to be spent by year end. This assumes all expenses are incurred on a uniform basis, which isn't typically what happens. Some of the areas that differ materially from budget are under revenue highlights, government transfers. Government transfers for operating are trending higher than budgeted, as there have been several grants received that were not originally anticipated. A portion of these grant funds will be deferred into 2025 to allow for the funds to be fully expended. Under sales and user fees. Sales and user fees are trending higher than the budgeted amount. Revenue associated with arena rentals on a whole is expected to be approximately $20,000 higher than previously budgeted, while water meter sales are also higher than expected. This is consistent with the increase in new home construction in Crossfield. Under investment income, investment interest has been outperforming expectations throughout 2024. The rate is linked to the prime bank rate. Current rates on our accounts are our savings accounts. We're experiencing an interest rate of prime minus 1.65%. And on our operating account, our interest rate is prime minus 1.7%. Licenses and permit fees. Building and development permit revenues continue to exceed expectations. As previously reported to council, there have been more than 124 development permit applications, including approximately 80, maybe 79 applications for new homes and 1 application for a new industrial building. In the expense category, we have salaries, wages, and benefits. Salaries, wages, and benefits are at 73% of budget and are expected to finish the year at approximately 90% of budget. The variance is related to a number of vacancies throughout the year. Vacancies included the Director of Infrastructure and Community Growth, Chief Financial Officer, Water and Wastewater Operator, Community Peace Officer, Customer Service Representative, and delayed starts for the Development Officer, Parks Operator, and Mechanic, along with a reduction in on-call fire wages due to level of service adjustments. In contracted and general services and materials, goods, supplies, and utilities. Both of these categories are under budget as of the end of October. However, they are expected to fall within 2% of budget by end of year. These expenses are heavily impacted by seasonality and the timing of various activities. Bank charges. Bank charges will be higher than budgeted because of switching our electronic payment provider to accommodate the integration with online customer payments. So you'll see in the operating budget, our variance report, and the final column is the forecast, is the year-end forecast numbers. So included alongside the operating variance is the forecast to year-end, in which administration applies their judgment, experience, and best assumptions to project where the expected revenue and expense results will be at the end of the year. Revenues and expenses are projected to come in at approximately 10.5 million and 7.9 million respectively, yielding a projected operating surplus of $894,727 for fiscal year 2024. The surplus position is primarily attributed to 4 factors. The first being salaries, wages, and benefits due to the unplanned vacancies, as previously mentioned, make up approximately 34% of that surplus. The investment income, so the greater than anticipated returns, account for approximately 28% of the expected surplus. Increased revenues related to development activity and user fees make up 15%, and unaccounted grants contribute 7% to that surplus figure. The remaining difference is attributed to an accumulation of smaller variances across several budget lines. So moving on to the capital budget variance. The capital budget variance report is also attached to this report. Approximately 60% of the 2024 capital budget has been expensed up until the end of October. Project status information is available in the report itself and under that project status column. Administration recommends the council accept this 2024 financial update as of October 31st as information. That concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Amber?
Through the chair.
Counselor Gustafson?
It's not a question, it's just maybe more of a comment. Is there any value of throwing another column in there to see where we're trending year over year? I know it's an exceptional year, especially on the when we're talking about staffing changes and that affecting it quite a bit. But is there any value on seeing what the trend is and see how we're moving and getting to a more accurate budgetary number?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Through the chair, I can consider that input and incorporate it into future financial updates. No, administration is reviewing what that quarterly update will look like, and certainly take back your feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair,
Mayor Harris?
I'm just curious, where will the surplus go?
Go ahead, Amber.
Through the chair, that's an excellent question, Mayor Harris. This is very preliminary. Obviously, we'll have to wait for year-end results, year-end activities, anything that would be included through amortization isn't included in these numbers. So this is not a final resting place, but that surplus will definitely come forward to council at the year-end financial update, where we can offer options of transferring that surplus to reserves, whether it be an operating or a capital reserve or whatever council wishes.
Very good. Thank you, Amber.
Any further questions for Amber? Okay, if there's no further questions, we get a motion with the amendment of Councillor Gustafson's request.
Through the chair, I don't know if that was a request, it was just more of a comment.
Okay,
It's not a request to the change of the motion.
it's just changing because the motion is to request to accept her information. So that's why I added it in there. Lindsay, yeah, okay. So we just need a motion to accept it for information.
Through the chair, I'll make the motion that the 2024 financial update as of October 31st be accepted as presented for information.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Carried. Okay, item 7.2. Amber again, utility write-offs.
Thank you very much. This report is being brought to council's attention as part of the process of reviewing receivable accounts and assessing their collectability. To maintain accurate financial records, uncollectible accounts should be written off to reflect the likelihood of converting the receivable. Administration uses many avenues to to collect outstanding balances. Some of our current processes include calling customers, sending letters, referring accounts to third-party collection agencies, and working through our interdepartmental collaboration. So this includes shutting off water, withholding permits or business license, potentially if a customer has an outstanding account. Several of the accounts recommended for write-off are quite a few years old, where the collection agency was unsuccessful in making contact or collecting these accounts. In recent years, our internal practices have improved and our policies have tightened so that the number of uncollectible accounts remains low. For example, some of the accounts listed in the associated chart are associated with designated mobile homes. The town's policy on issuing utility accounts to designated mobile homes changed in 2022. Administration has set up an allowance for doubtful utility accounts in 2023 with a balance of $2,000. Therefore, the 2024 cost of these write-offs is essentially $600.32. Administration recommends that council approve the write-off of the attached accounts from 2023 and prior in the amount of $2,600.32. That concludes my report.
Are there any questions for Amber?
Through the chair,
Counselor Knight?
just a question, when utility services are disconnected in a time, that means they stay off forever. That's why there's that charge in there, because they never got turned back on.
Oh, boy.
It's 1613012 and then 1600222.
Right. I think that what that means is the account was disconnected for that particular customer.
Okay.
So if there is a new owner or a new, well, in this case, in our current situation, it would only be owners. We don't have utility accounts
Yeah.
for renters. Then there would be a new account
Okay,
set up.
perfect. Thanks.
Through the chair.
Counselor Gustafson?
So going back to that, there'd be a new owner and just to clarify that prior to us doing changes, we could not add that to the tax roll.
Through the chair, for example, with designated mobile home accounts, those are not owners. So therefore we can't apply unpaid utilities to the tax roll because the owner of the mobile property isn't listed through land titles. So there's a caveat there.
But there is an owner to of the land. But and is there any possibility to
So currently we only extend a utility account to the landowner of
Yeah.
the designated mobile home. So that's how administration has kind of nipped this one,
Yes.
this situation. And typically for other properties where the land, they are registered at land titles, we would transfer utility accounts to the tax account.
But if it's the
Or-
final account, Amber, you can't, because it's already, the land's already been transferred to a new owner.
Through the chair, or it would be just listed, the outstanding utility amount is listed on the tax certificate. So
Mhm.
typically a lawyer through that conveyance process would know of any outstanding amount.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's always, the odd one that's the one that got away, but for the most part, the outstanding accounts are fairly low.
Any further questions for Amber? Okay, if there's no further questions, could we get a motion?
Through the chair,
Counselor Brennan?
I move that council approve the write-off of the attached accounts from 2023 and prior in the amount of $2,600.32.
All in favor?
Yes.
Item 8.0, Counselor reports. Mayor Harris?
Well, it's gonna be pretty short this time. I have not been as busy as usual because I've been away, but I have, with administration's assistance, done a year in review report to the media. That's it for me.
Oh, thank you. I myself have nothing new to report. Counselor Brennan,
Nothing further to report.
Counselor Gustafson,
Rocky View Foundation meeting tomorrow.
Counselor Knight,
December 11th, Mountain View Water Commission, we held our December meeting. We are reviewing all our policies right now. And the water level, because it's been a pretty stable winter and fall so far, the content stuff and the treatment of the water has been really low. It's been good quality water coming out because it's all frozen over now too, so look forward to more water. It's gonna be good quality for a while, so good.
Counselor Lambert,
Nothing further to report.
Counselor Bang.
Nothing to report.
Okay, could I get a motion to accept Counselor's report?
Through the chair,
Counselor Gustafson,
I'll move that the council reports be accepted as presented.
all in favor? Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Okay, carried. All right, item 9.1, a standing item list, CAO Barney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fox. So a couple of items listed on the outstanding action list. So 043 being the fire pumper borrowing bylaw that was passed this evening, as well as 042 being the line of credit borrowing bylaw. I'd like to request the removal of both of those items this evening.
Okay, are there any questions for CAO Barney on the outstanding? Okay, if there's no questions, could I get a motion with removing 042 and 043?
Through the chair,
Counselor Knight,
I move that items 42, 043 be removed from the outstanding items listing.
all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Carried. Okay, item 10.1, correspondence wastewater space capacity. Steve. Oh, yeah, right there. At the table.
On the right side.
Sorry, my apologies. Just need to quickly fix my display here.
There we go. Sorry for the delay. Steve Altina here to present the wastewater conveyance capacity update to council this evening. The purpose of this report is to provide an update to council on the sanitary system capacity review currently being undertaken by All North Consultants. Just as a recap for council, in the spring of 2024, All North identified based on video inspections that there may be a capacity constraint for the Lot Avenue sanitary main between Railway Street and the bulk water station near the town shop there. This section of sanitary main conveys wastewater from the north and the central areas of the town and the south industrial area toward the lagoon. Administration engaged All North to conduct a review of the sanitary system capacity, considering existing and planned areas within the town, and determine how much more growth could be supported under two different scenarios. Scenario one, we're constructing a main along Range Road 12, or replacing or supplementing the Lot Avenue sanitary main to increase capacity. So if you can see on the screen here, just for context, the Lot Avenue main here from Railway, I know it's a little zoomed out, a little fuzzy, but essentially Lot Avenue sanitary main in question is from Railway Avenue here, along Lot Avenue to roughly where the town shop is, the start of the bulk water station there. The Range Road 12 sanitary main is a proposed piece of infrastructure that will be needed eventually for the town. But we did look at this in this scenario to see if upgrades or implementation of the sanitary main would resolve capacity issues along Lot Avenue. That runs along Range Road 12, roughly from Vista Crossing down towards the sewage lagoons there. So again, both those infrastructure items have been identified in the town's 2020 Master Sanitary Servicing Study. They are a necessary piece of infrastructure to support growth within the town. The intent of the capacity review is to identify which option provides the most value to the town in the near term to inform capital planning for 2025. So at this time, we don't have the finalized report just yet, but we do have a draft. All North has updated the town's existing sanitary model to reflect all development and approved development since 2020. So again, the Master Sanitary Servicing Study was captured a moment in time in 2020. We've updated that model now for 2024. And they've completed a hydraulic model evaluation and submitted that draft technical document to the town. We wanted to bring it back to council to update council as we committed to do so before the break here. We will be bringing All North back in Q1 of next year to provide the finalized report. But we did want to share some of the findings with council. So our findings and our results from the hydraulic modeling was that there's not the hydraulic modeling does not indicate an immediate capacity concern for sanitary collection system. And further near-term growth in both Vista Crossing and Iron Landing can continue to be supported by the conveyance system. Upon further review of the video inspections that were conducted earlier this summer, and considering the results of the modeling, we don't believe there's a capacity issue, but the line is deteriorating and there's sags along the Lot Avenue line. So the line is sagging, therefore it's showing full lines. They're not free draining anymore. So the wastewater is essentially sitting in those lines when there isn't sufficient flow going through to flush it out. When we look at some of our options to upgrade the Lot Avenue sanitary main, or the Range Road 12 main, those are scenarios that we did run as part of the modeling. We see that upsizing the Lot Avenue sanitary main would support new development in several areas, Vista Crossing, Hawks Landing, and Iron Landing. So again, Vista Crossing kind of in pink up here, Hawks Landing up in purple, and Iron Landing in yellow here. It would also support development east of Highway 2A, roughly in these teal areas, and down to Northwest 25 here, kind of bounded by the orange box here. There's also an opportunity to support development in the green box here with some upgrades along McCool Street to support these southern quarter sections. So the Lot Avenue upgrade, can you see? A little fuzzy. The Lot Avenue upgrade does offer a number of opportunities to support development in the near and likely medium term throughout the town. When we look at the model and implement the Range Road 12 scenario, so again, running Range Road 12 down from Vista Crossing to the lagoons, we find that Range Road 12 in the near term would only flow partially full, about 20%. A lot of its capacity would not be utilized. It's a necessary piece of infrastructure the town would need to implement ultimately, but through the model scenarios and what we've drawn from conclusions is that the Range Road 12 may not be as valuable as the Lot Avenue upgrades at this time. So we did do some probable costing with All North Consultants. The probable costing did come back a little bit higher than the budget that we had approved back in November. there of 1.1 million for the sanitary main upgrades. All North has a probable cost of around $1.5 million to upgrade the Lot Avenue sanitary main. So administration will continue to work with All North to finalize those probable costs, and we'll look for opportunities to grants, developer levies and reserves as needed, and bring back a budget adjustment as required for council to finalize that project and to look to advance that project next year. So again, administration is working with All North to refine and finalize the sanitary system capacity review, and we'll bring back a technical report for council's consideration in Q1 of 2025. And that we recommend that council receive this report for information at this time. I'm available for any questions.
Are there any questions for Steve? Through the chair, Steve, I actually do have a question. So when you're showing in the green McCool Street, so why is it only a portion of McCool Street? Is it finding that the whole McCool Street does not need to be done, or is that where the tie-in is?
For sure. So yeah, exactly. So the tie-in for these two quarter sections is along Western Drive here. So what would happen is there'd be a main built along Western Drive, and it would connect here. So we're already running these areas down here in McCool Street on the existing system. So all that would need to be upgraded would be the downstream portion from this tie-in here. So there would be a sanitary main developed along Western Drive to service these areas, and then everything downstream would need to be upgraded on McCool Street.
Any further questions for Steve? Okay, if there's no further questions for Steve, can I get a motion to accept his report as information?
Through the chair,
Councilor Brennan,
I move the council accept the wastewater conveyance capacity capacity update for information.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Yes.
Thanks, Steve.
Sorry, keep forgetting that Kim has that. Give it a second. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, yeah, time for 11.1. I need to get a motion for council to go in camera.
The chair,
Councilor Knight,
I'll motion the council enter into camera at 7:43 PM.